Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Ramya Kala from Conflict Resolution in Islamic World Class. And today, I would like to deliver my understanding about the conflict resolution in Somalia, Al-Shabaab radical movement. Somalia is a country in Africa that is synonymous with conflicts such as prolonged civil war. Somalia is also often seen as a country that is always subject to violence, seizure of natural resources, border disputes, chaos, and poverty. Somalia did not have a recognized government, had no national currency, or other features associated with a sovereign state. Somali people then live in chaos. This can be seen how the public rights are neglected when the government does not have permanent legitimacy. Somalia survives without law, supervision, and legitimate government. Not only that, their chaos is also shown by their dependence on the black market, the absence of an obligation to pay taxes, and soaring rates of hunger and poverty. The chaos lasts a long time. Somalia has not even had an effective national government for more than 20 years, in which large parts of the country have become war zones. In such a context, Somalia is still too dangerous and divided to hold democratic elections, the last of which were held in 1969. Its parliament and president are elected through a complex system, with clan elders playing an influential role in the process. Seizure of the capital Mogadishu and much of the south of the country by a coalition of Islamic Sharia courts in 2006 prompt intervention by European forces and later African Union forces. Since 2012, when the new international black government took office, Somalia has moved towards stability, but new authorities still face challenges from Al-Shabaab rebels allied with Al-Qaeda. Al-Shabaab itself is an Islamic rebel group based in Somalia. This Islamic militant group was formed by Al-Ittihad Al-Islami, which means Islamic unity to form Greater Somalia with Islamic fundamental rules. The main objective of Al-Shabaab is to establish an Islamic state in Somalia. Al-Shabaab, which allied with Al-Qaeda in 2012, has been driven out of most of the main cities it once controlled, but remains a strong threat to its own country. Al-Shabaab's unifying idea was the oppositions of the Western-backed government. Al-Shabaab emerged when Ethiopia, a predominantly Christian country, invaded Somalia in December 2006 and toppled the Islamic Khorasan, or ICU, from Mogadishu with little resistance. The intervention, which came at the request of Somalia's transitional government, radicalized Al-Shabaab. After many ICUs fled to neighboring countries, Al-Shabaab retreated south where it began organizing guerrilla attacks, including bombings and assassinations on Ethiopian forces. In the end, Al-Shabaab gained control over large areas of central and southern Somalia. Al-Shabaab controlled areas enforced their own strict interpretation of Sharia, banning various types of entertainment such as movies and music. Stones and amputations have been awarded to alleged adulterers and thieves. The group banned cooperation with humanitarian agencies, blocking aid deliveries due to looming famine in 2017. According to the United Nations, it's forced an estimated 800,000 people to flee their homes, and Al-Shabaab had won support by promising people safety, but its credibility declined when it refused food aid from the West to fight drought and famine in 2011. The group has repeatedly launched attacks that have killed civilians either in Kenya or Uganda. The UN report notes that the group currently manages a number of small and medium enterprise units, including the Bakara market in Mogadishu, which sells all kinds of goods, food to firearms. Al-Shabaab, with a fighting force of 5,000 militants, currently controls cities and villages in southern Somalia. However, the group still has spies and assassins operating across the country. It is estimated that Al-Shabaab budgeted for war spending of $21 million last year, with nearly a quarter of it going to Secret Service. The organization, which was born in 2006, also managed its own judiciary. A Somali businessman admitted to the UN investigate team that he was summoned by the Sharia court and was asked to pay zakat worth more than 100,000 US dollar based on the value of his business. It seems that internal conflicts are still coloring the international political arena. This internal conflict, coupled with violence, is one of the greatest obstacles to achieve human progress and development. This conflict not only resulted in many deaths and injuries, but also an unstable political life and hampered economic institutions and economic and social development. Conflict-involved countries often show block, not progress in terms of economic and social indicators. Islamic radical groups have not only taken power in the capital, but in almost all the countries. In the last month, they have gotten stronger. Information Minister Abdirahman Osman said that Al-Shabaab was financially supported by Al-Qaeda, and they were waging war on the country, and an incident like this only strengthen their resolve. More and more jihadists will come to Somalia. Thus, the government and the country's military will stay and face them. The impact of Al-Shabaab in the region itself was stated by the UN Security Council, authorized the African Union to lead a peacekeeping force in Somalia, known by its acronym AMISOM. In 2007, its main mandate is to protect the country's transitional government, which was formed in 2004 but recently returned to power in Mogadishu. Uganda is the first country to send troops to Somalia under AMISOM and maintains the largest contingent of regional forces with more than 6,000 troops. Other military forces came from Burundi, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Djibouti. In total, AMISOM consists of about 20,000 troops. Al-Shabaab struck outside Somalia for the first time in 2010 when coordinated suicide bombing killed 74 people in Ugandan capital, Kampala. In the 2017, AMISOM withdrew 1,000 troops as the first step in the phased withdrawal, and in 2019, the UN Security Council decided to cut another thousands, with plans to hand over security responsibility to Somali forces by 2021. Some experts have warned that the Somali government could confront the collapse of if AMISOM is completely withdrawn. Since 2008, Al-Shabaab has demonstrated that it has the operational capability to launch deadly attacks against Western outposts and perceived adversaries outside Somalia. In October 2008, Al-Shabaab coordinated 5 suicide bomb attacks that hit the United Nations Development Program complex, the Ethiopian consulate, and various government offices, killing several dozen. In 2009, Al-Shabaab bombed an African Union peacekeeping mission in Mogadishu, killing more than 20 people and damaging the office of U.S. companies that are said to provide support to the peacekeepers. On July 11, 2010, Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the suicide bombings of the 2 groups of fans who witnessed the World Cup in Ugandan capital, Kampala, which killed more than 70 people, including an American citizen. The Ugandan attacks, according to Al-Shabaab, were launched to punish the country for its role in assisting AMISOM forces in Somalia, in the same way that the recent Westgate offensive was launched to punish Kenya for its military operations in Somalia since August 2011. After the defunct Islamic Court in 2009, Al-Shabaab flourished as a government that replaced the ICU by providing reliable security in its territory. The Al-Shabaab administration is structured as a system that is capable of providing ultimate security in many parts of southern Somalia. In its administration, Al-Shabaab demonstrates its efficiency in regulating the governance structure, tax system, justice, command, and cooperation among its fighters rather than the structure of the federal government. Al-Shabaab providing a better governance structure than the government is not a claim that the rebellious movement has the right to rule, even in the eyes of the Somali people who live under its territory. To achieve the political religious goal of forming an Islamic state, Al-Shabaab strives to be between the local and external, domestic and external. Internally, Al-Shabaab's fighters are now in serious symmetrical conflict over where to place their allegiance, Al-Qaeda or the Islamic State. The dream of the Greater Somalia is also to plant ranks of various Islamic formations in the country, but any nationalist project that focuses on what goes against what it stands for is doomed to fail if undermined. Developments like this raise a question about the relationship between Islam and nationalism. Somali nationalism is also aided by the fact that almost of all Somalis are Muslim. And this is a unifying force in opposing clan divisions. Above all, Islam adds depth and cohesiveness to common elements of traditional culture, which, above their many divisions, unites the Somali people and provides the basis for their strong national consciousness. Although Somalia has not traditionally formed a unitary state, the cultural heritage of nationalism, which is strengthened by Islam, is behind the current Somali nationalism. At the same time, a warning is needed regarding the limits of Islam as a driving forces in Somali society. Historically, Islam has never been successful as a sustainable political meeting point in Somali society. It has never been able to overcome the stronger organizing power of clanism. In today's politically charged environment, various types of Islamic activism like Sharia courts and Al-Shabaab tend to be clan organized and operate within clanist parameters. Thus, Islamic nationalism working through the clan structure may succeed, but Islamic nationalism pit against the clan will, given Somalia's history, fail. According to Mr. Ahmadi and Surandono, conflict resolution has an important meaning in that it is a strategy to resolve a conflict problems that occurs. In the Islamic world, quarrels are seen as causing akidah or ideological conflict. In the political world, which is a part of muamalah process, conflict should also be resolved through the muamalah process. Conflict resolution is, in an Islamic perspective, can also be interpreted as a process for the welfare of the people. Islam teaches mankind to always solve problems with the peace and safety of its people, considering the emergence of Islam with existing conflicts. In the Al-Quran, there is Surah Al-Hujurat, which gives an understanding of how to deal with conflict itself in Islam. In conflicts in Islamic world, the Prophet Muhammad SAW always raised siblings so that conflicts can be resolved by forming a competitive and democratic society. In this Al-Shabaab conflict in Somalia with Al-Shabaab and the Somali government itself, which is a fellow Muslim, it will be very good if both problems are resolved peacefully. In this if this conflict continues, it will become complicated and will continue to drag on over time. The longer this conflict drags on, the more actors try to help one party to win this conflict, where the Al-Shabaab demands the Somali government not to accept assistance from the West, and how Al-Shabaab becomes very aggressive when conflicts with other religions intervene with their country. What needs to be done is to provide an understanding between the two conflicting parties about what they are questioning. Looking from both sides is important when trying to solve a problem in a conflict. In the case of Al-Shabaab in Somalia, the government and Al-Shabaab must be trusted to give each perspective in seeing the problems of this conflict. Then, the next step is to provide space for both parties to negotiate on the conflict at hand. This can be done with the help of the third parties, namely through assistance from countries or international organizations that can be accepted by both parties to the conflict. Because in the Islamic way of conflict resolutions is to carry out negotiations that help both of the parties to achieve peace and prosperity for their people. In implementing aid in Somalia, many organizations have helped problems in Somalia, such as Intergovernmental Authority on Road and Desertification, the efforts of the African Union to help Somalia. It appears that when Ethiopian troops evacuated from Somalia following the Djibouti peace agreement, there was a major security gap that would help Al-Shabaab to revive and to control lost areas in central and southern Somalia, including Mogadishu. And the UNSC resolutions 25 of December 2006 also authorized the deployment of the missions of African Union peacekeepers to Somalia or AMISOM. Okay, that is all for my explanation and for today. Thank you so much for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.